Despite all his rage, he's still just Nicolas Cage. Despite all his rage, he's still just Nicolas Cage. And someone will say his career can never be saved. Despite all his rage, he's still just Nicolas Cage.
Hey guys, here's another installment of Just Nicolas Cage, where I very slowly work my way through Nicolas Cage's filmography. Today I'm talking about the 1990 movie Firebirds. Firebirds revolves around a task force of helicopter pilots instructed to take down a mercenary that's protecting a South American drug cartel. Nicolas Cage is the devil-may-care fighter pilot on the job, but Tommy Lee Jones has to put him through some training first. So I need to get this out the way right off the bat. This movie is basically Top Gun, except instead of jets you have helicopters and you don't have a homoerotic volleyball scene, so it's therefore even worse than Top Gun. Alright, let's talk about my boy Nicolas Cage. It's important to note that this is the first action movie he ever did. I mean, I suppose it's more of a military movie. But up until this point, he's pretty much only ever done like rom-coms and character studies and stuff like that. So being in a movie with even explosions kind of marked a big change for his career, I think. Which is kind of funny because nowadays it's the opposite. He'll be in like 7 explosion movies, and if you're lucky, he'll be in 1 character study. Anyway, so Nicolas Cage plays this hotshot, skilled, but kind of immature and aloof fighter pilot. The movie lets you know he's cocky because he's always chewing gum in like every scene. I gotta say, the character is a little bit obnoxious and unlikable. Especially the way he relentlessly pursues his love interest in the movie. I mean, he borderline sexually harasses her.
Let's talk about us instead.
No, this is important, Jake. To prevent radio detection, we're set up with ATHS direct to your video display.
I've got a display of your tail that is just mind-boggling.
Think of us scouts as extensions of your own sight in the air.
I think I like that. You only have eyes for me.
But I gotta say, Nicolas Cage does bring a certain charm to the movie. I mean, he is entertaining in certain parts. I mean, the highlight of the whole movie is when he has to do this, like, flight simulation thing. And he's in this, like, simulation looking at these PS1 level graphics. And his acting during that part is awesome.
I am the greatest! I am the greatest! I am the greatest! I am the greatest! Shoot him, blast him, nab him, grab him, shake him, bake him, cook him, clean him, hose him, boil him, kick him, nab him!
Nab him, grab him, zab him, stop that pigeon now. The love interest I referred to earlier is played by Sean Young from Blade Runner. She plays another pilot that used to date Nicolas Cage. And man oh man is her acting bad, like really bad.
We don't go out together anymore, remember?
That's going to change.
It didn't work before, and it's gonna work now? Too many things haven't changed.
She's so robotic she needs to take a void camp test. Get it, like in Blade Runner? The love story between her and Cage is just boring and cringy and corny. Honestly, Cage has better chemistry with his helicopter than with her. Tommy Lee Jones is like the commanding officer in this movie. I googled it and I found a blog that said he's played a military officer in at least 17 different movies. It's the kind of role that he can play in his sleep, but yeah, he's good. Although I feel like they could have made more of the conflict between Tommy Lee Jones and Nicolas Cage. I mean, Cage does say, like, why are you pushing me so hard? And Tommy Lee Jones is like, 'cause I see your potential. But it's like, is he pushing him that hard? I think they seem to get on pretty well, considering one's like this aloof hotshot and the other's a hard-ass veteran. And there's also no arc where Cage really changes either, by the way. And that leads me to probably the biggest problem in the movie, is that there's not really any conflict in the film. I mean, at the very start we get this flashback setting up this mercenary villain that they've got to take down. And we don't encounter him or really any bad guys again until like the last 20 minutes in the movie. And the rest of the film is just cliche training camp stuff. I mean, one of the biggest plot points in the film is that Nicolas Cage can't, like, focus his eye properly because one eye is more dominant than the other and it messes up things when he's looking down the scope or something like that. And even that whole thing is just resolved in this wacky scene where he wears a periscope on his head and stuff that they call panties. And then after that, he's fine. They just really don't deliver on the premise of this is a movie about the drug cartel. I watched the Siskel and Ebert review from the 90s, and Siskel made a good point that this movie could be about any conflict and you wouldn't really have to change anything. Other than one part where Sean Young kills a guy and says, snort this. You can tell that they just shoehorned in the conflict of like South American drug cartels because it was a hot button topic at the time. And there is a real, like, pro-army kind of jingoistic vibe going on here. I mean, when the movie literally opens with a quote from George Bush Sr., you know you're not gonna get a balanced, nuanced critique of the military. So overall, this movie is not great. Big portions of the movie drag. It's corny as hell, it's poorly written, the romance parts are awful. But there are some parts that are a little entertaining, I guess. Mainly Nicolas Cage and Tommy Lee Jones are what makes this movie somewhat watchable. I don't particularly recommend this movie. I mean, if you like this kind of thing, just watch Top Gun instead. I guess if you're a helicopter aficionado, you'll get a kick out of this. I can't really think of any other helicopter movies, I guess. But yeah, otherwise there's not really much point in watching it. Maybe watch that scene where he's playing a simulation and screaming, "I'm the greatest," and nothing else. So the next movie up is Wild at Heart, directed by David Lynch, which I've never seen, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be pretty good. So until next time, guys, thank you for watching.